Hello everybody, this is Refresh, and I'm here to bring you a battle between two Kaldheim sealed decks and the Defeat a God challenge deck from Journey into Nyx. On the left we have a Rakdos deck, and on the right we have a Boros deck. And if you look in the description box below, you'll see links to the builds of both of these decks, as well as links to other battles that they have skirmished in. And now we are going to be playing two games against the Defeat a God challenge deck. First on normal difficulty with 3 Rollicking Throngs. And for these games we're going to be using 3 hero cards. The first one is a Harvester, which says tap, draw a card, then discard a card. Then we have the Explorer, which says you may play an additional land on each of your turns. And then the Vanquisher, which says your starting hand size is increased by 1. Your maximum hand size is increased by 1. Because I only have one copy of each of these cards, we're going to apply their effects to both decks simultaneously. We'll go ahead and get started by drawing our opening hands. Rakdos draws a Mountain, Tuskeri Firewalker, Tergrid Shadow, Swamp, Run Amok, Koma's Faithful, and Swamp. It's a bit of a slow hand, but I think we still have to keep it in the hopes that it will be able to get some work done. Boros draws a Goldmaw Champion, a Mountain, a Plains, Call the Forge Master, Stalwart Valkyrie, Frostbite, and Goldlane Pick. I think that this is an acceptable first hand, so we will keep it as well. Because this is multiplayer, we'll start by drawing a card each. Rakdos draws a Burning Rune Demon, and Boros draws a Axgard Cavalry. We'll go ahead and get started for Rakdos by playing a Mountain and a Swamp. And then Boros will play a Mountain and a Plains. We'll tap both of these and we will play out the Axgard Cavalry. This is a 2/2 Dwarf Berserker, and you can tap it to give target creature haste until end of turn. And then Rakdos will tap the Swamp and the Mountain, and we will use the Foretell ability of Tergrid Shadow, which is an instant. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures. You can foretell for 2 black and black. And then we will go to Xenagos' turn. Xenagos will cast the top 2 cards. The first one is a Rollicking Throng. This is a 1/3 Human Reveler, and when it enters the battlefield, reveal the top card of Xenagos' library, and Xenagos casts that card. Then we have a Impulsive Charge. At the beginning of combat this turn, all Revelers gain haste until end of turn and attack this combat if able. Finally, we have an Impulsive Charge. This stacks on this one, but it doesn't really change anything. Everything is going to attack this turn. We're going to block one of the Rollicking Throngs with the Axgard Cavalry, and we'll take 3 damage to go down to 17 each. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Rakdos draws a Death Knell Berserker, and we will discard the Run Amok. Boros draws a Shepherd of the Cosmos, and we are going to discard the Stalwart Valkyrie. We'll untap. Rakdos draws a Swamp. Boros draws an Axgard Braggart. Rakdos will play a Swamp and a Mountain. We're not in the best of shape here, and I think we should have done a little bit more communication, because I think Tergrid Shadow might be the best thing to cast here. We'll go ahead and spend 4 mana here and cast Tergrid Shadow. This is poor communication on our part, but that will get rid of the Axgard Cavalry as well as 2 Rollicking Throngs. And then for Boros, on their main phase, we'll tap 2 and we'll cast Call the Forge Master. This is a 2/2 legendary Dwarf Warrior, and whenever another non-token creature you control dies, if it was enchanted or equipped, return it to the owner's hand. Creature tokens you control that are enchanted or equipped get +1/+1. We'll also use the Harvester now because we do want to hit another land drop for Boros if possible. So Rakdos will draw a Mountain, and we will discard a Mountain. Boros will draw a Beskir Shieldmate, and we're going to have to discard the Shepherd of the Cosmos at this rate. Then we'll pass the turn to Xenagos. Xenagos will untap and cast the top 2 cards. The first card is a Xenagos' Scorn. Xenagos' Ascendant gains Trample until end of turn and attacks this turn if able. Then we'll also have an Ecstatic Piper. This is a 2/2 Satyr Reveler. When it enters the battlefield, Xenagos' Ascendant attacks this turn if able, and when it leaves the battlefield, each player gains 2 life. We're going to be attacked by Xenagos, and we're just going to take this one on the chin and go down to 11. And then it is the end of the turn. We'll untap. Rakdos draws a Cinderheart Giant, and Boros draws a Snow-Covered Plains. We finally hit another land here, so that's a good sign. Rakdos is going to play their Swamp, and Boros will play their Snow-Covered Plains. And then since we have 3 mana, I think we're going to try to use this mana effectively here. So we're going to tap 2 mana and cast the Goldvein Pick. This is a equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token, and you can equip it for 1. So we'll spend 1 to equip Cole with the Goldvein Pick. And then we're going to attack the Ecstatic Piper with Cole. That'll defeat the Ecstatic Piper, and because our opponent can only be attacked by attacking the creatures directly, we're going to count that as a hit to the player and get us a treasure token. We'll also gain 2 life apiece to go back up to 15. And then on Rakdos' side, we'll spend 2 mana and cast the Death Knell Berserker. This is a 2/2 elf berserker, and when it dies, if its power is 3 or greater, create a 2/2 black zombie berserker creature token. And then we'll also spend 3 more mana and cast a Tuskeri Firewalker. This is a 3/2 human berserker with boast 1. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Then we'll pass to Xenagos. Xenagos will untap and cast the top 2 cards. The first one is an Ecstatic Piper. And then we have a Rollicking Throng. Then we have a Impulsive Charge. So everything will attack. And we are going to block one of the Rollicking Throngs with a Tuskeri Firewalker. And we will trade the Death Knell Berserker for the Ecstatic Piper. So the Rollicking Throng dies. The Ecstatic Piper dies. The Death Knell Berserker dies. We'll be gaining 4 life, but we'll also be losing 8 life. So it's a net loss of 4 to go back down to 11. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Rakdos draws a Shackles of Treachery, and we'll discard the Shackles of Treachery. Boros will draw a Sulphurous Mire, and we will discard the Axgard Braggart. We'll untap. Rakdos draws a Sulphurous Mire. Boros draws a Battlefield Raptor. Boros will play the Sulphurous Mire. This is a Snow Swamp Mountain, and it enters the battlefield tapped. And then Rakdos will also play their Sulphurous Mire. We're going to go straight to combat and each attack one of the Rollicking Throngs with these 2. And as Rakdos attacks, we'll tap a swamp to activate the Tuskeri Firewalker, exiling a swamp. We'll defeat both of these Rollicking Throngs. And then we'll go to the second main phase where we'll play the swamp from exile. And Rakdos will spend 3 mana to cast Koma's Faithful. This is a 3/1 Elf Cleric with lifelink, and when it dies, each player mills 3 cards. Boros will also spend 3 mana and cast a Gold Maw Champion. This is a 2/3 Dwarf Warrior with boast 1 and a white tap target creature. And because we dealt combat damage, we're going to get another treasure token. And now it's time for Xenagos. Xenagos will untap. Cast the top 2 cards. The first one is an Impulsive Charge. And then we're also going to get an Impulsive Return. Return 2 cards named Ecstatic Piper from Xenagos' graveyard to the battlefield. At the beginning of combat this turn, it deals damage to each player equal to the number of Revelers on the battlefield. Here are our 2 Ecstatic Pipers. They both enter the battlefield. We are taking 4 damage to go down to 7. And then everything is going to attack again. At this point, I think we will block one of the Ecstatic Pipers with the Gold Maw Champion and the other one with Koma's Faithful. That will kill both of these. And we'll go down to 1 at first because we're going to hit by Xenagos, but then we're going to gain an additional 8 life to go up to 9, plus another 3 life from the Koma's Faithful to go up to 12. Koma's Faithful will die as well. Every deck will mill 3 cards. Xenagos mills a Ferris Band Revelers, a Ecstatic Piper, and an Ecstatic Piper. Rakdos mills a draugr Recruiter, a Rune of Mortality, and a Poison the Cup. Boros mills a Craven Hulk, a Plains, and a Plains. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Rakdos draws a Swamp, and we will discard the Swamp. Boros draws a Mountain, and we will discard the Battlefield Raptor. We'll untap. Rakdos draws a Breakneck Berserker, and Boros draws a Dwarven Reinforcements. Boros will play their Mountain, and then I think we have this in the bag, so we might as well just swing with both of these. And for posterity's sake, we can go ahead and activate the boast ability to exile the Dwarven Hammer, but the two of them should hit Xenagos and defeat Xenagos, which is a 6/4 legendary enchantment creature god, and it can't leave the battlefield as long as the Reveler is on the battlefield, and when it leaves the battlefield, each player wins the game. So it left the battlefield, and the two sealed decks defeat Xenagos on normal difficulty. We'll be right back for hard mode. Alright, we're back for normal difficulty, and on normal difficulty we have 4 Rollicking Throngs assembled. Go ahead and draw our opening hands. Rakdos draws a Ruined Crown, Mountain, Dwarven Hammer, Frenzied Raider, Mountain, Craven Hulk, Swamp, and Cinderheart Giant. I think this is an acceptable first hand. Boros draws a Plains, Dragonkin Berserker, Beskir Shieldmate, Snow-Covered Plains, Mountain, Axgard Cavalry, and Plains. This is an aggressive first hand, which is actually a pretty good thing, so we'll keep this as well. We'll go ahead and get started by drawing our opening cards. Rakdos draws a Swamp, and Boros draws a Fearless Pup. Rakdos will play a Swamp and a Mountain. We'll tap both of these and we will play the Frenzied Berserker. This is a 2/2 Demon Berserker, and whenever you activate a boast ability, put a +1/+1 counter on Frenzied Berserker. Boros will play a Plains and a Mountain, and we'll tap both of these, and we will cast the Dragonkin Berserker. This is a 2/2 Human Berserker with First Strike, and boast abilities you activate cost 1 less to activate for each dragon you control. Boast 4 and a red, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying. We can't really attack this turn, so we're going to pass the turn to Xenagos. Xenagos casts an Impulsive Return, which is going to hurt a lot, and then a Impulsive Charge. And so we have 4 assembled, so we're going to be taking 8 damage. That'll take us down to 12, and then all of the Rollicking Throngs will attack. We'll double block one of the Rollicking Throngs and take 3, going down to 9. That will defeat 1 Rollicking Throng. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Boros draws a Tergrid Shadow, and we will discard the Tergrid Shadow. Rakdos draws an Axgard Braggart, and we will discard the Fearless Pup. We'll untap. Rakdos draws a Swamp. Boros draws a Plains. Rakdos will play a Swamp and a Mountain. Boros will play a Mountains and a Plains. We'll go to combat and we'll swing both of these creatures at one of the Rollicking Throngs. That will defeat the Rollicking Throng. And then Boros will tap 4, and we will cast the Axgard Braggart. This is a 3/3 Dwarf Warrior with Boast, 1 and a white. Untap Axgard Braggart, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Then we'll spend 4 mana over here, and we'll cast the Craven Hulk. This is a 4/4 Giant Coward, and it can't block alone. And then we'll go to the Xenagos' turn. Xenagos untaps, and we'll cast the top 2 cards. The first one is a Madden Oread. This is a 4/2 enchantment creature, Nymph Reveler. As long as 5 or more Revelers are on the battlefield, it attacks each turn if able, and when it leaves the battlefield, each player gains 3 life. We also have an Impulsive Charge, so all of these are going to be attacking again. We are going to block one of the Rollicking Throngs, and we'll take 5 to go to 5. Then we will use the Harvester at the end of the turn. Rakdos draws a Swamp, and we are going to discard the Swamp. Boros draws a Tuskeri Firewalker, and I think we're going to discard the Plains. We'll untap. Rakdos draws a Koma's Faithful, and Boros will draw a Goldmaw Champion. Boros will play the Snow-Covered Plains. Rakdos will play the Swamp over here. We're going to go to combat, and we're going to attack the Madden Oread with the Dragonkin Berserker and the Rollicking Throng with the Axgard Braggart. We'll pay 2 mana to activate the Axgard Braggart's ability. That will untap it and put a +1/+1 counter on it. That will defeat both of these. We'll gain 6 life to go back up to 11. And then Rakdos will spend 5 mana and cast the Dwarven Hammer. This is a equipment. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 2/1 red dwarf berserker creature token, then attach Dwarven Hammer to it. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 and has trample. We paid the extra 2, so here's our Dwarven Berserker with the hammer attached to it, making it a 5/1. And then Boros will tap 3 mana, and will cast their own Tuskeri Firewalker, and then we'll pass to Xenagos. Xenagos will cast the top 2 cards. The first one is Xenagos' Scorn, and then we also have another Xenagos' Scorn. So Xenagos is going to come swinging, but he's alone, so we'll just trade with the Dwarf Berserker, and Xenagos will perish in a blaze of glory, I guess. We'll take 5 damage to go down to 6, but because Xenagos has left the battlefield, the Kaldheim sealed decks defeat Xenagos surprisingly easily. This is probably the swingiest of the challenge decks, but the cards came out in a very easy order for the Kaldheim sealed decks to defeat. Let me know what you thought about the games in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of my videos, you can hit subscribe. This was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.